If you like rock and roll, jazz, the blues, or even heavy metal, then this is the show for you. Hi, I'm Paul McIntyre, and you're watching What's Up Montreal, the show that spotlights the world of local entertainment. On this show, you can expect exclusive interviews and CD reviews. On this week's show, we had the pleasure of talking to Panhandler, Brasse-Camarade, and Destitute Vogue. We'll be back with our first interview right after this.
Hi, I'm Constantine.
And I'm Shira. And you're watching
What's Up Montreal?
What's Up Montreal on CUTV.
I can never get that right.
And now, here's Isabelle with her interview this week.
Thanks, Paul. I'm here with Brasse-Camarade, a rock band from Ontario, who are about to release their second CD. This is Pierre Lamoureux, François Lamoureux, and Tim. Right out. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So, how'd you guys start this band?
Well, we were actually an English band called The Frayed Edge, and we kind of split up slowly. Things just started dying, and we had opportunities to play in French, and three of the members of The Frayed Edge decided to start Brasse-Camarade, and since then we've changed drummers a few times, and Tim is our latest addition.
When did you join the band?
Joined the band about, it's been 4.5 months now, almost 5 months. And I actually knew these guys from, we all met at McGill about 6 years ago. So that's how I came to work with them first.
You all studied music together?
Yes, we did. Yeah, actually, I started off in saxophone, and you were in drums the whole time, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I did bass.
Yeah.
And who's responsible for the lyrics and the music in the band?
Well, actually, I do more of the music, and Pierre here does more of the lyrics. Although sometimes we will change. You know, he'll write mostly the music, and it's pretty like a good exchange. The new single that's coming out soon is Pierre wrote actually all the music and the lyrics, so I had nothing to do with it. He'll get most of the royalties, but that's okay. And but no, it's a pretty good exchange.
And what is it called?
It's called Sans Elle, without wings, without her. It's a play on words.
Okay, and is it based on a personal experience?
Pretty much.
Because some of the lyrics say, "Without her, I would fall," or something like that. So is it?
Yeah, most of our lyrics are taken from personal experiences. Sometimes it's not necessarily us. It's some things that our friends are living or experiencing, and I kind of incorporate it in our lyrics. We usually sing in the first person, like I, rather than, he does this, she does that. It's more like, I'm going through this. It's always in the first person, even though it might not necessarily be us personally.
How did you choose your name?
Well, it's an interesting story in the sense that we were watching a hockey game one night, and we were flipping channels, like the CBC, and then we went to TVA and 4 Saisons, and we quickly noticed that there was a big discrepancy in the language used. With the CBC is all nice and proper French, and when you go to TVA, it's more of a, rock and roll, it's like he's saying, "It's Brasse-Camarade sa glace," and we went, wow, that's pretty neat.
And how would you translate that?
It's hard to, I'm not really sure how to translate it. It's more like what we tell people that don't know it's from hockey, like we say, it's more of messing around, having fun, play fighting a little bit. I think it comes from, messing around. It transfers well into what our music is. Brasse means, it's something that's very dynamic, that moves a lot, and that's what we try to.
Isn't that what we can expect when we see you performing?
Hopefully,
live.
Hopefully, that's what we try to do. I mean, we're 3 people on stage, and we try to make the best show that we can. It's by moving and keeping people interested in what we're doing.
Yeah, it gets pretty wild. We might seem like subdued guys, but we kind of change when we get on stage.
You've often been compared to Rush and Led Zeppelin and groups like that. What do you think about that? Would you accept that comparison?
Well, they're all great groups, and I hope someday if we can have a fraction of the success they had and the notoriety. But we hopefully will have our own sound. We don't try to be like Led Zeppelin or Rush, but the fact that there are three guys doing music, it's inevitable that people want to put us in a category, and I think it's some nice people to be with.
Then how would you describe your music? How would you do it?
I like Led Zeppelin and Rush. No, but it's hard. It's hard to quantify. The best thing I could say is something that that won't depress you. It won't. It's not depressing lyrics. It's something that it's fun. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to. We don't want to play and you watch us. We want to have a party, all of us, like the people in the audience and us as a whole. So it's more of a collective party.
Why did you choose to sing in French when we know that the industry is really oriented towards English songs?
Well, it wasn't.
It wasn't a choice exactly.
See, we grew up in Ontario in French, so we always went to French school. We always spoke French at home. We always wrote both, you know. We grew up in English and French, so sometimes I'd write an English song, sometimes I'd write a French song, write an English song, French song. Sometimes I'd write English for a year at a time without writing a French tune. And it kind of flips around like that. And like I said, we were actually playing in a band called The Frayed Edge, and we have the demo here at the radio at Concordia and stuff. We sent it all over. We played New York City, we played Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa. We played kind of that little circuit. But, you know, we were playing for $50 for a case of beer, and, you know, things like that. And it really wasn't really going anywhere too quickly.
Do you find it works better in French for you?
Well, all of a sudden we had these opportunities to play colleges and festivals in French, and like the University of Ottawa, Laurentian University, Sherbrooke, you know, a few places like that, and so we kind of got into it that way.
So your new CD is coming out soon this fall.
This fall.
So we're going to hear from you. What can we expect?
People that know the independent album, I think it's a little more focused, a little more rock and roll, a little heavier at times.
Well, good luck with it.
Well,
thanks,
a lot,
guys.
Ben.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Jenny.
And I'm Christina.
And you're watching What's Up Montreal on CUTV.
Welcome back. And now here's Maureen with her special guest this week.
Thanks, Paul. Hi, I'm Maureen, and welcome back to What's Up Montreal. Today I have a local band with me. It's Panhandler. And with us we have...
Go ahead.
Brian LeBlanc, bass player.
John Saladine, vocals and guitar.
And Dominique Despins, lead guitar.
Okay, and there's one more member, Rock Laprant, who's absent today. Panhandler, how did you get that name?
Well, one time there, me and Dominic, when we were attending actually Concordia University, this was a couple of years ago, we were taking the city bus together, we're just shooting some names because we were planning to start a band. And I had made up a list of different names and stuff, and shooting some names around, and it sounded pretty cool, so we decided to stick to that one, and it's stuck ever since.
So that wasn't a previous career? Right?
Oh, no.
So what did you take at Concordia?
Music.
Right.
Music?
Yep.
So for future musical artists, so how did this course prepare you? If it did?
Essentially, not really. The Concordia music program is fine. It's great. As far as if you want to pursue a jazz career or something, it's actually very beneficial. What we did was the basic, 3-year program, which would be the integrated music studies, and it prepares in the sense that it opened up our musical knowledge. It made us more aware of the classical format, which was fine. But in essence, the heavy metal in us is something that's more innate. So we just try to not necessarily go to school for something like that.
All right. So you formed the band in '92, and how did that get off the ground then?
Well, essentially, me and Dominic formed the band. We had the idea that we were gonna get a band off the ground that was essentially very heavy. When I say heavy, I mean like hard music, right? So he suggested Rock Laprant, which is our present drummer. So we nabbed him from another band. He worked out pretty well, and at that time we had to audition some bass players, and that was really hard because bass players are really hard to find in the city. So along came Brian.
So how do you develop your songs and your lyrics? What is the normal process?
Well, usually, especially lately, a lot of times we work around riffs. I can bring a bunch of riffs, play them to the band, and whatever they have like a good vibe on, we take it from there. We really compose in the practice room. like really live. If you want live composing, you know, everybody is like.
Everybody puts in their separate input
Yeah.
and their separate ideas, and if everybody's okay with it, if everybody is happy with the other's ideas, we keep it.
So it's all based on consensus. It's not just one
Yeah,
person's.
yeah, it's
Not at
work
all,
as a
yeah.
band. And
Yeah.
So I guess it's ultimately up to the listener to decide what type of music they're listening to. But how would you describe your music?
Well, essentially, it derives from thrash metal. It's sort of from the old school, but at the same time, we're incorporating a lot of '90s ideas to our music. It's quite unique actually, because we don't necessarily follow any guidelines when we are composing. We just try to listen to our inner selves when we are composing. We just like let it out through our music. So it's not necessarily anything that has been sort of how do I put this? I don't know. It's like in essence, it's quite original. It's a unique style of thrash.
All right.
some people.
Well, thanks a lot. Thanks for joining us. That was Panhandler, and listen for them. They're a great band. We'll see you later.
Welcome back. I had the pleasure of talking to Scott and Michael from Destitute Vogue this week, and this is the interview we had. Well, welcome to another wonderful interview at CUTV. I'm Paul McIntyre, and today my guest in the studio is Scott Mitchell from Destitute Vogue. Hi, how's it going?
Good.
So tell me, what's Destitute Vogue all about?
That's a doozy. It's melodic songs, and they're not epics. Just
It says you sound like the Ramones, Cheap Trick, and REM. We're going back to the 70s and early 80s with REM. Who basically are some of your main influences? And if you can't be compared, what's new and refreshing about your sound?
well, we just wanted to go for a sound like when I was younger, I always listened to bands like Cheap Trick, Kiss, and Ramones, stuff like that. And I always wanted to have a band that could do energetic songs and play them in concert, not the metal side of things, and have people, just a really energetic show.
So tell us who's in the band and what kind of formation do you have with Destitute Vogue? How long have you been around?
Since '92, April '92.
Are you the main songwriter?
Yeah.
So what are your lyrics about? Are they about politics? Are they about sex? Are they about Satanism?
No, it's just everyday kind of stuff, but it's kind of like a Seinfeld thing where it's a show about nothing.
What kind of people show up at your show? Besides your mother and cousins and all the people you probably will.
No, my mom won't. She won't come to a show. She doesn't like. She doesn't like when they.
She's had enough?
When they all bang into each other, they jumping off the stage and such.
Okay, yeah.
She doesn't really get into that.
No?
It's hard for this city because we play out of town a lot.
Tell me about your song, Good to See You. Who wrote that? What's that song all about?
I did. It's basically, I don't know, kind of like just seeing a long-lost friend, someone that helped you out, You're just you're happy to see them.
If it was one reason that people would want to go see your band, what would it be?
It's fun, It's like watching an aerobics workout, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, and people can get involved, obviously.
Oh yeah, totally.
So I guess we can look forward to a Destitute Vogue workout video in the future.
Well, no, but it's a high energy show. It's not a boring show.
What kind of visual can someone expect when they go see Destitute Vogue? If I go to see your show, which I'm sure that I certainly will, what can I expect once I sit down and I kind of check you guys out after 10 minutes? What's going to happen?
I don't know. You wouldn't be bored. You'd tap your foot a little faster. You'd drink your beer a little faster, and you'd probably be singing along with the songs by the end of the show.
Well, that's good enough for me. Okay, well, thank you very much, Scott, for coming down and talking to us today, and we wish your band the best of luck. And we're going to be back after this. We'd like to thank Destitute Vogue, and I'm Paul McIntyre. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back after this.
Hi, I'm Rick.
And I'm Dick. And you're watching What's Up Montreal on
CUTV. You're supposed to say it at the same time.
At the same time.
Hi, I'm Isabel, and this week I'll be reviewing the new CD of the Tragically Hip, Day for Night. This is the band's 4th album. The CD is very different than the previous ones, Up to Here, Road Apples, Fully Completely. The guitars tend to be heavier, which gives the CD kind of a grungy sound, which is really different from the usually more rock sound of the Hip. Gordon Downey's voice, always fascinating and unusual, is about the only element that's really consistent with the other albums. The Hip's new single is Grace 2. It's really mellow, and the bass is very present, so it might seem really unusual to most Hip fans. For a more traditional sound, the fans should listen to Nautical Disaster, which is a really dark song about a very tragic dream. Day for Night is a CD that needs to be listened to more than once to be fully appreciated. My personal favorites are Nautical Disaster, Scared, and Emergency. However, I don't think that this CD contains hits like New Orleans is Sinking or Courage or Fully Completely. Still, I would recommend it to fans. I must admit, I can't wait for the next album, which I hope will sound more like the Tragically Hip I'm such a big fan of. Day for Night is in stores everywhere, so check it out. For What's Up Montreal CD Review, I'm Isabelle Landry.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's show. I'd like to thank Miles from Braid Lexus Productions and, of course, all the bands, Panhandler, Brasse-Camarade, and Destitute Vogue. Stick around next week. We'll have much more exclusive interviews here on What's Up Montreal. If you have any comments about this show or any show at What's Up Montreal, or you have suggestions you'd like to see more bands or know a band that would like to get interviewed, have them call us right away. Our number is 848-7403. I'm Paul McIntyre for What's Up Montreal, and you're watching CUTV.